All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you. Happy Monday. 9 minutes with me on IGTV, YouTube, and Facebook. And be sure to hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports. And of course, my podcast is called the ML Sports Platter. Please do indeed download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. That stuff helps an awful, awful lot. I was obviously in Cooperstown over the weekend. We'll get to that in a second. But my podcast, I got a ton of guys. Andy Pettit, Jorge Posada, Tino Martinez, Jay Buhner, Pat Henkin. I got Dwyer Brown, who played in Field of Dreams, and a host of others. So if you can get a chance, please download and share to the masses. It was a really, really remarkable weekend. And of course, 9 minutes with me here is brought to you by Empower Federal Credit Union. Log on to empowerfcu.com. We're also supported by Bryant and Stratton College and our good friends at Bradley's Jewelers. Log on to bradleysjewelers.com where you can shop the showcase of wedding rings, engagement rings, necklaces, pendants, you name it, watches. bradleysjewelers.com. They'd rather make $100 10 times than $1,000 once. So, as mentioned just a few seconds ago, I covered the Hall of Fame induction weekend. It's always a special time, and I just kind of wanted to give a recap to it. I think first and foremost, for me, my deepest, biggest memory is going to be the 1990s Yankees dynasty back together in a way. And obviously, Paul O'Neill wasn't there, David Cohn wasn't there, Jimmy Key wasn't there, and a host of others weren't there. But who was there? You had a Steinbrenner represented. You had Brian Cashman, the GM there. Fine, that's all great. But it was about the Big Five. A lot of people say Core Four. I say Big Five. Bernie Williams, who played the national anthem and then Take Me Out to the Ball Game and started ripping Enter Sandman, which is amazing in his intro. Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettit, and then, of course, the great Mo Rivera going into the Hall of Fame as the first unanimous selection. Derek Jeter will be going in next year on the first ballot. It will be interesting to see if he goes in unanimously as well. But that was the first takeaway for me. Growing up, big-time, lifelong Yankee fan. And that 1990s dynasty really is the last MLB dynasty we've had. It's the real last true dynasty. And I tweeted this out last night. Clutch, teamwork, they picked each other up, they were tough, they handled New York, there was no situation they all couldn't handle, and they were, the band was back together, and it was just an amazing sight to see. Tino walking in with Posada, Pettit, and Jeter. It was flat out unbelievable. Mariano Rivera apparently called Jorge Posada and said, I need you here. I need my brothers here in Cooperstown, because he probably got wind that Derek Jeter originally was not coming. If you listen to all the podcasts with Sweeney Murdy and all the shows on television and all the rest, he was not going to come because of his Miami Marlins duties. Well, I got to tell you, Derek Jeter chartered a private plane, as he should have, and of course the gang came up, and that was that. I don't know if they rode together in the plane or what, but I do know that they rode in the same white Bronco, because that was the vehicle they got out of to go to the induction. But that was just an amazing moment right there. And of course, I was kind of in a time machine, just thinking back to that unbelievable time and how I wish I could just see one more game with all those guys together. Clearly, Mariano Rivera, as in most, the biggest name, I guess, in the class in the first unanimous. The first thing that comes to mind when you talk to guys like Jay Buhner, you talk to guys, I talked to Joe Girardi after the induction yesterday as well, a guy who caught Rivera and a guy who managed Rivera. It was just the unbelievable consistency and the incredible dominance of Mariano Rivera. For me, it's the postseason. That's what jumps out. Sure, I know he's a career saves leader with over 650. I get that. I know what his career ERA plus is. I know what his whip is. I know what the innings pitched are. But it's the postseason. .70 ERA. And this guy, by the way, only gave up runs to 11 different guys. In addition to that, he had 22 postseason series where he pitched to a tune of 0.00. That's right. His ERA was 0.00 in 22 series. Absolutely amazing. He owned October, and of course, in his speech, had apologized to one of his sons who has a birthday on October 4th. And he was like, sorry, I was on a mission in October. Roy Halladay's widow. Brandy Holiday hit it out of the park. I don't know how she got up there. I don't know how she contained herself. I don't know how she was able to wipe away the tears. I have no idea. Her two boys were sitting in front of her. All the memories, the love for Roy Halladay. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she did the speech, but she was a Hall of Famer yesterday without question. And, of course, Roy Halladay going in with the blank cap honoring both the Blue Jays and the Phillies. Mike Mussina, meantime, I was hoping that he was going to spit that gum out. He didn't, but he got through the speech. I thought it was a very good one. I thought he was very humble. I thought he was gracious. I thought he was very forthright. I thought he was very honest. He told some very good, humbling tales for a guy who hasn't been always that humbling. Mike Mussina's been that guy who a lot of my media partners, Scott Petoniak and Matt Michael and company, they'll talk about Mussina and, say, well, Mike Mussina's kind of the guy who's, I went to Stanford and you didn't type of guy. He didn't come across that way yesterday. He was very humble to be there. Very happy for Mussina. He's one of the most creative, crafty pitchers I've ever seen. You talk about two-seam fastball. You talk about four-seam fastball. You talk about curveball. You talk about splitter. You talk about knuckle curve. This guy rolled out who knows how many, 6, 7 pitches to baffle people. And you look at the innings pitch, you look at the durability, you look at 270 wins, you look at 2,800 plus strikeouts, you take a look at the era he pitched in with the steroid era, you look at the consistency, you look at the marksmanship, Baltimore, New York, you look at the postseason, pitched a couple innings scoreless against the Red Sox in Game 7 of the ALCS in 2003, and then you look at the 0-1 ALDS in Game 3, and the Yankees were backs up against the wall. Granted, that game's remembered for the flip play with Derek Jeter to Posada tagging out Jeremy Giambi, but Mike Mussina set the tone with 7 innings pitched. Remarkable career, absolutely deserved to get into the Hall of Fame exactly when he did, because he rode the trajectory up. Sometimes you're not a first ballot guy, but you are a Hall of Famer. That is Mike Mussina. Edgar Martinez, one of the terrific hitters I've ever seen in my life. He had about a 7 to 10 year period where he was just absolutely dominating. Nobody wanted to face him. And hey, if you pull away his numbers against Mariano Rivera, he might not be in the Hall of Fame. Edgar was amazing. That shot down the left field line, in helping save baseball in Seattle, the 95 thrilling American League Division Series against the Yankees, of course. And I talked to Jay Buhner about that series yesterday, a guy who got drafted and brought up by the Yankees and then eventually traded to the the Seattle Mariners for Ken Phelps, and clearly Seattle won that one. But Buhner talked and just waxed poetic about what drama, what thrilling, unbelievable adventures that series provided. Edgar was a huge part of it. Edgar was one of the great hitters, truly great hitters I've ever seen. So Roy Halladay goes in, Mo Rivera goes in, Mike Mussina goes in. This class, Mo Rivera, Edgar Martinez, Roy Halladay, Mike Mussina, absolutely amazing. I do realize that the Modern Era Committee put in Harold Baines and Lee Smith, which I think is a complete and utter joke. Harold Baines never finished better than 9th in the MVP race. He has 0 postseason moments. He doesn't have any awards or accolades. Shit, I just mentioned the MVP thing, how he never finished higher than 9th. He doesn't have that many great numbers to even solidify him as just a regularly awesome, amazing, elite Hall of Fame player. You may say, well, wait a minute, Mike, as I was told yesterday on the car ride home, hey, there's more RBI than Mickey Mantle. Okay, well, there's about 50 to 100 guys we can name who have more wins than Sandy Koufax. Does that mean that they're Hall of Famers? You can't just take one stat and just create some kind of an outer worldly view to get some guy in the Hall of Fame. Harold Baines was a really, really terrific player. Had a great career. He ain't a Hall of Famer. Lee Smith pitched for 20 years, I believe. Couldn't even compile 500 saves. This guy was an absolute compiler to begin with. Yeah, he retired as the all-time saves leader. What does that even mean right now? I don't even know what that means. If you're a closer, you got to be Mo Rivera to get in. I'm still actually questioning Trevor Hoffman, sort of, as a fringe guy. I don't think Bruce Sutter should be in. I don't think Bill Mazeroski should be in. I don't think Phil Rizzuto should be in. I think Barry Larkin's a fringe guy. I think Alan Trammell's a fringe guy. This has got to stop. The modern era has got to stop putting in the Hall of Very Good. I'm not diminishing great careers, but they're not Hall of Famers. Thanks for watching 9 Minutes with Mike Lindsley, IGTV, YouTube, and Facebook. We are brought to you by Rosie's Corner. If you are in and around central New York, make sure you get to Rosie's. Pizza, pasta, hot and cold subs. The ice cream shop is open. Themed foods throughout the week, including Fish Friday. Comes with your coleslaw or your mac and cheese. Big time thanks also to Ken's Auto Detailing, Bryant and Stratton College, and our pal Brian Comboy at Mass Mutual, New York State. Go with Brian today for your tax-efficient retirement planning. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.